Round 3 was a bit of a mixture of results. Thursday night was really affected by heavy rain, so there's not much you can say about that one. Friday night was a bit, Super Saturday was a poorly skilled all three games, but they saved the best to last. Two thrilling finishes in our Sunday games of football. So without further ado, let's get into reviewing the full round. Let's go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Up the Guts podcast. Joining you as always is your host, Trent Yolton, and yes, that's right, we're going to be reviewing all the action. So normally we do two videos on this a week. We split this up. We do the Thursday to Saturday games and record that and release that on a Sunday. But with the Sunday game, with the Sunday game being with the Sunday game, the last game being at 3:15, then finishing by 6, I thought plenty of time to record and do it all in one. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And the early start at 12:30, just wouldn't have had it probably out in time with some other stuff that I was doing. But I'm just going to do it as one today. But before we get into reviewing the first game, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to like and comment, as that's what's really favoring the algorithm. Hit that subscribe button as we race towards 400 subscribers, and turn the notification bell on so you notify whenever we upload. If you're listening to this via audio, make sure audio, which is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a like and comment on this episode. Hit that follow button, turn notification bell on so you notify when we upload. And please, guys, remember to leave a five-star rating on this show if you do enjoy the show. And a newly one that I don't normally mention, but because it's normally also in the intro. But if you do normally skip over the intro, please make sure you're following us on our Instagram and our TikTok as well, as that's where, especially the Instagram, it's where you'll get all the clips from this show, but also all the extra gear, some behind the scenes, some stories, you name it, a little bit of extra gear on there. So make sure you go over and hit follow the TikTok page and the Instagram page as well. But without further ado, let's get into Thursday night between the Cats and the Crows. Thursday night, as expected, was a bit of a low-scoring affair with a lot of the rain that Melbourne have had. Was always going to be a low-scoring game, but it was the Cats who came away at home at GMHBA by 8 points, 9-14-68, defeated 9-6-60. Jack Martin popped up for 3, as did Dempsey, popped up for 2. Zach Taylor, I thought, played a really good game off the wing for the Crows. He pushed forward off that wing and kicked 3 goals. Bailey Smith was back to a little bit of a slow start this year, but in the wet, it didn't look like it was wet for him, as he dominated with 40, 10 tackles, 6 clearances, 7 inside 50s, and 795 metres gained. His partner in crime, Max Holmes, a little bit less disposals, but just as much impact with 27, a goal, 5 tackles, 7 score runs, and 603 metres gained. Ultra consistent and beautiful ball user. Graham Myers had 25 goals with 8 tackles. But it was the birth of Rochelle, the midfielder, this one. Although the Crows didn't get a wing, he went home with a big shiner on his eye. But it was the birth of Rochelle, the midfielder. Without Jordan Dawson in there, he was able to spend a bit more time than he was already spending in the first couple of games. We know that's what they were building up for him to be in the preseason, was him being more of a midfield, but it was only a little bits of times. Now with Dawson out, it allowed him to go in, and geez, wasn't he good. A massive impact on the game. Nearly was the reason that they won. 31, a goal, 7 clearances, 7 inside 50s, 2 goals, 6, and 651 metres gained. If we can get this Rochelle, I want to see Rochelle in the midfield a lot more often than he was the first few games. If Dawson's whether Dawson's playing or not, means Dawson can play a bit more time half forward. I would say half back, but I think their backline's pretty solid, but Dawson can spend a bit more time forward or ranking. They can imagine that midfield, though, even with Dawson in, Dawson, Rankin, and Rochelle there. And you got Berry and Saligo running through there. It could be the missing piece that they had. I know their midfield is not something that is highly rated, especially by me as well, but it was good to see that. Worrell just continues his form. I put on the radar on Instagram. If you follow, I believe I said in my preview, but I made a big note of it on Instagram and TikTok clips, so make sure you're following that so you guys would know I'm starting to do Thursday and Friday night mini previews of what each team can do to win as well, on top of the preview episodes that I put out. But I put on their radar that I wouldn't be opposed to putting in someone as a defensive forward on Josh Worrell. And although the Crows didn't come away with the win, he still dominated 30 disposals, 11 intercepts, 10 rebound 50s, and 895 meters gained. I think teams are going to start looking at playing someone on Josh Worrell. It is not very far off. You just can't have someone sit behind the ball and do this consistently because he's been doing this for a good 12 to 15 games in a row now. So I think teams will start looking at that magnet in Josh Worrell, just seeing how much impact he's having on this Crows outfit and delivering the ball in there. And they'll want to start putting in some work in there to navigate his influence on games. But other than that, the wet weather had a massive impact on that. So that's all probably there is to talk about. That it's not nothing against the Crows and the Cats the way they played. They played the best they could with the weather that they were provided. So that was it for Thursday. And then we head over to Friday night between the Pies and the Giants. The Pies hosted the Giants. Interesting enough, at Marvel Stadium for their home game, 13-9-87, the Pies defeated the Giants, 7-12-54 by 33 points. Goal kickers, good to see Membry get on the scoreboard after a forward cohesion that hasn't been working for the Pies so far. By all means, it is an undermanned backline for the Giants. No Buckley, no Taylor. And I've consistently said last season that they're probably, if not indefinitely, the best 1-2 punch in the competition down back. Key defense backs. But memory kick for Nick Dacos was electric with 2 goals. McStay also kicked the 2 goals as well. Stringer, the only multiple goal kicker for the Giants with 2. We mentioned Nick Dacos with 2 goals, but he also had 36 disposals, 6 clearances, 5 tackles, 12 inside 50, 7 score involvements, and 770 meters gained. Continuously putting the competition on notice and showing why he is regarded as the best player in the competition with performances just like that. His brother's not much. Josh is not much less of a player than Nick is. He consistently puts in performances too. And again, 33 disposals at 91% efficiency and 662 meters gained off that half back line, just continuing on. Josh Dacos, side bottom was huge, I thought, for the Pies as well. 31, 11 marks and 7 score involvements. So Jack Chris also playing a bit of half back, bit of wing, bit of middle, 26 at 85% efficiency. Whitfield did all he could off that half-back line, used the ball beautifully, but he's just not having as much drive in his getting as many meters gained as he used to like a couple of years ago. 39, 87% efficiency. Oliver was huge, I thought, for the middle, 37, 9 clearances. It's becoming even more and more evident why St Kilda went so hard at Callaghan when he puts in performances like 35 at 83% efficiency, 7 inside 50s, and 605 meters gained. Lockie Ash is just putting performances on performances consistently, 28 at 86% efficiency. And I thought Harvey Thomas was really good off that wing, 27, a goal, and 7 score runs. But the talk of the town was the Collingwood debutant, the ruckman, Oscar Steen, and he didn't look out of place down there. Big boy and at the best vertical leap at the Magpies, and I thought he ran out-rucked Kieran Briggs in there in his first game. He won the hit-out battle, 20 hit-outs, only had the 8 disposals, but took a massive contested mark down in the goal square to kick his first goal, which was a really good thing to see. So looks like the Pies might have found one in there. I'd like to see him try and back it up again, but I was really, really excited by the way Oscar Steen put himself in there in the first quarter. Nick Dacos, we mentioned him, but it was particularly his third quarter when he turned it on. He had eight disposals, 2 goals, and 3 clearances in that third quarter alone, and even spent about 5 minutes at full forward to rest as well, to still had that impact down there. So he's just putting on a massive, massive season at the start here. Lockie Schultz is forward pressure, I reckon I've mentioned before, but it's so crucial for the Pies. 17 disposals, 6 tackles, 3 clearances, and a goal. Took a while to get used to it. Obviously, his first season wasn't the ideal one at the Pies, coming across in the Dockers, but last year he was much better, finally found his groove, and now he's just backing up his form from last year. Darcy Moore now looked to have done a hamstring in the first quarter. Looked to have done a hamstring in the first quarter. Sorry guys, if I just have a look. Harry Dixon has actually just accepted our follow request on Instagram, as if you head over to the Instagram page right now, I would have posted St Kilda won the Victorian Premier Cricket grand final. Harry Dixon hit a 6 to bring up his 100 that won the game, or the next run single won the game. So they were 1 run short after he hit that 6 and brought up the 100. So just had to have a look at that. So go ahead and have a look at that. Show Harry Dixon in future Australian cricket. But hopefully, fingers crossed, Vic's still at best. But back to Darcy Moore. I thought he was not going to come back on the ground. I know we were talking in our group chat about there's no way he can come back on the ground after a performance. No, after an injury like that, he didn't look like he was moving. Then back down in the rooms, he couldn't even lift his leg up. It looked ugly. But then he came back on and he was still hobbling around here and there, but then looked like he didn't deserve to be out there. Then he would be fine a couple of minutes later. It was a real interesting one. But now it's come out he's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. So I don't know. We knew watching it that he wasn't right, but Craig McRae said he's a risk taker if the high-performance team thinks he can push it out there because it's so crucial to the rotations, then he'll back the high-performance team in, which I do like that, the risk taker, but it's just sad to see the skipper go down consistently because he is a key pillar down in that back line for the Pies. Scott Pennery also with Achilles tightness, but while Darcy Moore was not expected to play next week anyway, neither was Scott Pennery. That was already in the works because it's only going to be a 6-day break as the Pies face Brisbane Thursday night. I haven't heard much about Scott Pennery. It looks like it's just tightness, but he was always going to miss next week, so that's okay. So it looks like it's nothing huge there for Scott Pennery, which is really good as he looks to break the games record very, very shortly. And Billy Frampton was also huge for the Pies, keeping Jesse Hogan goalless and just the 4 touches. Jesse Hogan looks like he's a bit out of touch, whether he's carrying a little bit of an injury, but he also looks frustrated in his body language. So I'm interested to see if he is carrying a little bit of an injury, if something does that come about, but he needs to get it working thick fast because they definitely got plenty of looks inside forward 50. They just couldn't convert. Now we head over to the super Saturday games. They were poor games, all of them, until the last quarter. So let's get into it. All right, let's start off with St Kilda and Brisbane at Marvel Stadium, 12:30, and it was the Lions getting this job done, 17-11, 133, defeated 11-14, 80, 33 points. Very, very poor 3 quarters, but when the game mattered the most, the Lions turned it on, kicking 7 goals to 2 in that final quarter, and that's what separates. That's another clip I put on the Instagram. That's what separates the best teams to the ladder. Teams that, while not make it pretty, they just find a way to grit it out and win. And win did they? They smashed them in the end. Liam Ryan, kicked 3. Sharman kicked 3, and Higgins and Owens also kicked 2. As the Lions, Rayner, Lohman, Allen, Cameron, Morris, Bailey all kicked 2 apiece. For the Saints, Sinclair led the way, equal with Wanganeen Malira, my ad. 29 at 90% efficiency for Sinclair and 8 intercepts. Wanganeen Malira, 29, 5 clearances, 10 score revolvers, and 698 metres gained. Jared Berry was good. He had the role on Wanganeen Malira in the first half, and then Fagan decided to drop it and then just have Dunkley watch him at stoppages but not play that hard tag. It was a hard tag at the start, but then they dropped it in the second half. But Berry, 31, a goal, 10 marks, 2 goal assists, 7 score runs, and 600 metres gained. Will Ashcroft, 29, 11 clearances and 7 tackles. Obviously, with Lockie Neal was tagged by Hugo Garcia, keeping him to just 18 disposals. So that meant Will Ashcroft. And with Hugh McCluggage not being in there, Will Ashcroft's probably getting a little bit more set of bounce midfield time. And he's thriving on that with 11 clearances. Zorko, does this man ever slow down? 37 years old, 28, 8 rebound 50s, and 731 metres gained. Alex Taru took an absolute unbelievable mark. I'm still trying to toss up, is he a forward, is he a defender? I think I don't mind him down back, but took that beautiful mark, but took out Noah Ainsworth in the process, the Brisbane Lions player who went down for concussion, so that's unfortunate for there. Darcy Gardner's shoulder, injured his shoulder after a bump from Liam Ryan. And this game was all on. We know the talk-up was around Fagan and Lyon after the little comments Fagan made on St Kilda. With how they pay players and so on and so on and so on. And it was on for young and old, especially when they were playing that hard tag and Wanganeen Malira, spot fires everywhere. While that was entertaining, the skills... It took the energy out of them, which fights can, spot fires and all that can take a lot of the energy out of players. But they've key players have been on record on saying that. I think Marcus Bontempelli has been on record on saying that. It takes it out of you, and it was evident with the skills that were forming. Unable to kick goals, I believe Brisbane Lions were like 3 goals 8 at one point. So it was all well, but on the scoreboard it wasn't pretty, but it was definitely on. But Brisbane Lions and Chris Fagan get the final laugh over the Saints and Ross Lyon. Then we head over to Optus Stadium for Freo v Richmond. Another game that was a very, very poor first half. But then Freo just put their dominance on the game, winning by 60 points in the end. 13-25. Sorry, guys. 13 goals, 25 is absolutely disgusting. They should have won by much more. Defeated 6-7, 43. Tracy kicked the 4, Amos and Sarong kicked 2 apiece. Sealy Green kicked the 3, while Taranto kicked the 2 and also lay 10 or 12 tackles. Let me just get that one up. He was good around the ball. Just 10 tackles as well. So he was one of the shining lights down there. Bolton backed up his magnificent performance last week. Another really good performance. 33, 2 goals, 7 score moments, and 573 metres gained. Absolutely love him playing a bit more midfield time here rather than as a forward. Sarong also 32, 2 goals, 9 clearances, 8 inside 50s, 12 score moments, and 579 metres gained. Probably gets the best on ground votes over Bolton purely with the 2 goals there. Clark was also really good, 27, 82% efficiency and 7 intercepts. It's good to see Luke Traynor back for the Tigers, and he was good, 28, 9 marks and 8 rebound 50s. Hopefully he can build some consistent footy together as well. We mentioned Taranto, 24, 2 goals and 10 tackles. The only real talking point I had out of this one was Tracy was huge with 12 marks. Could have had a bit more. While he had a massive impact on the game with 12 marks, I would have loved him to kick like a bag of 6 or something. I believe he kicked, I want to say 4 goals, 3. Yeah, 4 goals, 3 from 16 disposals and 12 marks. Really, really good game, but I would have loved to see him kick like a big bag of 6. But 12 marks is huge, so Josh Tracy is starting to build together a really good season very early on. By all means, it's only early, so we'll see what he can build. I believe he kicked 50-odd last year, so he'll definitely be looking for 60, and Freo are in really good spots early on in the season, as predicted by a lot of people, to finish top 4. Saturday night, we head back to Marvel Stadium for the Dons v North Melbourne, and it's getting really sad for Essendon supporters now. Sorry for the little chuckle, but again, and straight inaccurate kicking again, a big player in this game. 9-15-69 defeated 12-9-81. Peter Wright, the only multiple goal kicker for the Bombers with 2 goals. Dersma kicked 3 from North, all in the first half. Was looking really lively, floating across, taking some really nice overhead marks, really lit it up. Trembath, I really liked Cooper Trembath. Really showed some really good signs. Was his first time goalless, I believe, last week in his short career so far, but he came back and returned with 2 goals. Larky, the skipper, also kicked 2. Highest disposal getter for the Bombers was Archie Roberts with 25 disposals, 80% efficiency and 8 intercepts. Other than that, it was all Kangaroos who found plenty of the ball. Their key players too. McKercher, 35, 567 metres gained. Sheasel, 33 at 88% efficiency, 11 marks, 5 tackles and 7 scorer moments. Parker off his new role at halfback, 33 disposals, 91% efficiency and 13 marks. Davies Uniacke, 31, 11 marks, 7 inside 50s, and 7 scorer moments. But there it is. North end a 10-year and 12-game losing streak to the Bombers, and didn't they love it? Kangaroos now 2-1 to start the season. Can they go 2 in a row and make David King have a beer finally? The bloke's dying. But nah, seriously, it's really good to see North start winning games. What the good thing about this is saying it wasn't a convincing win by all means. It's not like, oh, geez, here they come, they're finally here. But what they didn't used to do was they didn't win the games, like the winnable games, clubs that are kind of at their level, the ones that they can. Those games they were losing, and just it gets to a point where you need to start winning those games and not coming close, not losing by a goal. You got to start winning those games. And while they'll be disappointed with how they allowed Essendon to somewhat have a taste of, we can come back here, kicking a couple of late goals. They won it pretty convincingly, dominated the ball around the play, and it's going to be a really long season for Essendon and Brad Scott. But in a bizarre moment, Tristan Xerri copped one, was bleeding from the mouth, and then in a little bit of a scuffle after kicking a goal, wiped his blood on skipper Andy McGrath. So it begs the questions, how many weeks for Tristan Xerri? Nathan Buckley 25 years ago, did this similar thing to Cameron Ling, and he got 1 week. Okay? We're past that now. the question begs, how many for Tristan Xerri? Because I don't care anywhere in public, on the street, your brother when you're young, then they don't know about. Wiping your own blood on someone is fucking disgusting. There is no other way to say it. It's fucking disgusting. That we don't promote violence, but someone wiping someone's blood on you, do that to the wrong person, and I don't think they'll care. They'll retaliate and just smack someone on the footy field. Like, I'm not promoting violence, but it is disgusting, and some players will be like, what the fuck, and just retaliate like that. Tristan Xerri is probably lucky it didn't get a lot more ugly than it did after him doing that. I know there was a push and shove, but it could have got really, really ugly. I'm saying a minimum 2 weeks. I think it has to be if Nathan Buckley got the one. It has to be a minimum 2. We can't see this in the game. It's disgusting. It doesn't matter if it's on the footy field. It doesn't matter if it's out in public. It doesn't matter if it's a fairly mental. It's fucking disgusting. We don't want to see it. And that's the bottom line. So Tristan Xerri, I think he would look back and go, why the hell did I do that? Not a great moment for Tristan Xerri. I know some people I've seen have lost a lot of respect for him, but he's going to have to live with this one. And it's not a great moment. He'll have to sit about for a couple of weeks and think about it and how he can come back from this. The Foss, Finn O'Sullivan claims another victim. We were going on in the group chat, was Zach Merritt out there playing? Is he out there playing? Because it looked like he wasn't. That's only because the Foss, Finn O'Sullivan, kept him well grounded to only 10 disposals, while he also collected 24 disposals himself. Fun fact, this was Merritt's lowest disposal game since round 1 and 2018. So that's 8 years. He's had more than 10 disposals in a game. That's a huge stat. Huge round of applause to Finn O'Sullivan. Yeah, pick number 2 in the 2024 draft. Bright future for him. Only a small guy, but geez, does he have a crack? And we mentioned Zane Dersma turned it on with 3 first half goals. Now let's get into the more exciting games, which was today as we record it, Sunday. So let's get into it, starting it off at 12:30 at the Adelaide Oval. Who would have thought we'd be saying the Eagles are 2-1 in 2026? Well, that's the facts. They are 2-1 after a 2-point victory over Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. What a huge win away from home this is for the young West Coast Eagles. 13-12-90, defeated by 13-14-92. Mitch Georgiades tried his hardest, as did Jack Whitlock for the Power, kicking 3 apiece. Durden also kicked 2. But geez, Jake Waterman just busts his ass off and has one of the big, strongest set of hands. Him and Josh Tracy are probably the 2 strongest set of hands as key forwards, in my opinion, in the AFL right now. He kicked 4. Bo Allen, Harley Reid kicked 2 apiece as well. Butters, again, tried his hardest, but he was just undermanned down there without his partner in crime, Rosie. And it'll be like that for a while. 30 disposals, 83% efficiency, 6 clearances, 7 inside 50s, and 11 score moments. Farrell off that half-back line at 25 disposals, at 88% efficiency, 7 rebound 50s, 8 score moments, and 758 minutes gained. And while they weren't hard disposals, the West Coast Eagles players, they were just tough around the contest and got it done when it mattered. So Kelly led the way with 23, 13 contested, 7 clearances, and 2 goal assists and 10 score. And Harley Reid started this season off really well, playing big midfield minutes as well. He's fit and firing, 21 disposals at 81% efficiency, 2 goals, 6 clearances, and 9 scoring, which is really good to see. But the talk of the town, or the talk of the West Coast Eagles back in the locker rooms, they would have been all getting around. Big Joe Shanahan had a massive almost day, was clunking marks down in the forward line, just couldn't convert on the scoreboard. I believe kicked 1 or 2 behinds. But in the dying stages of the game, he's gone behind the ball and taken a massive pack mark, which no doubt saved the day. So hats off to Joe Shanahan. He's an absolute young talent rising up for the West Coast Eagles ranks. A Rising Star nomination last week. Back it up with a game-saving big pack mark this round. Joe Shanahan is really putting together a really nice resume, and I'm sure the boys would be absolutely getting around him tonight. But the Eagles overcame a 29-point deficit in the second quarter. So they didn't come out firing, and Port Adelaide were really putting the foot to the throat earlier on. But like the game we'll talk about soon, they just turned it on in the second half and led really by Harley Reid, who kicked 2 early goals in the third quarter. And then they just started to flip it on, coming back. And this will go down as a really, really good win for the Eagles. It's really good to see them and North both be 2-1. We'll go over the ladder after this as well. But the only negative is Harley Reid would have been loving having Elliot Yeo in there with him now, waiting for confirmation, but he didn't take part in the second half. Says he's had a groin injury, but we'll wait to see what the injury report says after I see how long he's out there for, because he's a key factor. Well, he doesn't get plenty of the ball. He just takes the load off Harley Reid in there. So the Eagles go 2-1 to start off the 2026 season. Who would have thought? And to finish it off, oh no, Carlton have done it again. They just haven't showed up in the second half. Well, I say that, and they didn't show up in the third quarter, and then it looked like Melbourne were coming, and then they kicked away a little bit in the last, and we thought, oh, maybe this is a different Blues. But nah, same Blues, just don't want to show up in the second half, and Melbourne have ran over the top of them to win by 23 points, 15-10-100, defeating 11-11-77. They were 43 points down at one point in the second quarter, Melbourne, and 34 down at halftime, and they've come out and won by 23 points. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Michael Voss. Now, might even chuck the Bluetooth on here. Pause for 1 second, guys. I'm going to chuck the Bluetooth on and I'm going to grab my headset because I have seen a post of Michael Voss in his press conference. So give me 1 second while I grab the headphones so we can listen along together. All right, guys, headphones are secured. Now, Bluetooth is connected. Now, let's have a look at this post that I did see pop up on the Instagram as I accidentally opened my phone before. Just going to have to find it again. 1 second. Won't take long at all. All right. The title is I'm Pretty Filthy. Michael Voss following Carlton's loss to Melbourne. Let's have a look. Oh. That's really loud. Hang on. Let me turn that down for you guys.
Michael, what's your major emotions after a loss like that?
No, pretty filthy. I'm pretty filthy. It's
as you would be.
We're putting ourselves in great positions, and we're handing it back. I mean, I don't want. That sounds like I'm taking something away from Melbourne, because you got to be able to go at the game and challenge the opposition and turn the momentum your way. But we're also not helping ourselves. So, we have to own it. That's the first thing we have to do. I've taken the measure of let's look at this half glass full. And sort of see the things that we've been rehearsing over the course of pre-season and seeing the transfer and really highlighting what those moments are, and slowly sort of just chipping it away at those momentum changes. But today was really disappointing.
Michael, what's your major emotions
after third
slice?
Let me see if that continues. No, it just shows the score. So,
Michael, what?
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. He's just as I just take the headphones off there, guys. He's just not happy whatsoever. And how could you be with performances like that? Does Voss survive the year? Carlton fans are running thick and thin at the moment. It's just thick and thin at the moment, and at the end of the day, you don't blame him. I'll just turn the Bluetooth off in case a notification comes through. You can't blame him with performances like that, and I just don't know what to say about Carlton. What is it that they just don't want to show up in the second half? Goal kickers for the Blues. McGovern 3, Elijah Hollins. He was really good too. Also had 25 disposals, 80% efficiency. As for Jagger Smith and what's his first name? Byrne. But what's his first name? Taylor Byrne. I don't even have to search it up now. Taylor Byrne. Both kicked their first goal for the Blues. So that's a positive. That's a positive there. As for the Demons, Fritz looks like he's back to some really good form. Had an off year last year. Picked it up a bit in the second half, but other than that, had a really off year. He kicked 4. Langdon kicked 2. Langford kicked 2 and a really, really crucial goal as well that really didn't probably put the nail in the coffin, or if not, it was one away from putting the nail in the coffin. Was really good. Just turning his opponent inside out, snapped it overhead was really, really crucial. Chandler kicked 2. As for the other disposal, and Paddy Cross in his debut, only recently being picked up about 20 days ago. I think probably it was around the same time as Blamires from North. Picked his first goal too, and it wasn't his. A really good goal too. Really good pick up, snap over the head. Really good moment for Paddy Cross. Straight out of Melbourne, Casey Demons and local club Nana Goon, which is actually only about 30 minutes down from my road, if that. So, well done to Paddy Cross there as well. As for disposals, Sammy Walsh had 31 and 8 tackles, and we mentioned Elijah Hollins, Jagger Smith also 25, a goal and 2 goal assists and 7 score onwards. Cozzy Pickett was huge though, and I believe if we get this up, I think about 20, if we pull this up, I think about 22 of them came in the second half. So Cozzy Pickett had 33 in the end, but he had 19 in the second half and 12 in that last quarter. He was absolutely huge. 8 goals, 6 clearances, 10 inside 50s, 3 goal assists, 10 score involvements, and 821 metres gained. This is the talent we do. We don't expect games like this, but I think Cozzy Pickett to start the season has been a little bit inconsistent. We get really good games and he goes missing for a little bit. But this is games we can get, and that's what makes us so exciting and why he was worth that contract when he puts in performances like that. Tom Sparrow was huge as well for the middle, 29, a goal, 9 clearances, and 7 tackles, while Windsor also in his new midfield role had 24 and 5 tackles. Another one who was huge was Jack Steele through the middle. He had 23 disposals, but laid the huge 15 tackles. Still why St Kilda got rid of him. It was weird how they got rid of him, but I understand why they were trying to go for something new, but it was just weird because he was a captain. But he's thriving at Melbourne at the start. Never going to be a high disposal getter in this late in his career, I don't think, but he's going to do the in and under grunt work. 15 tackles is huge. And we celebrate a legend, arguably one of the best ruckmans ever to play the game in Max Gawn. His 250th game, and he dominated Mark Pitnet. 55 hit-outs, 23 disposals, and 5 clearances. And let's not gloss over the accolades he has. 8 times All-Australian, 2021 Premiership player, 3 times Best and Fairest, and the 2018 AFL Coaches Association Champion Player of the Year. And at the age of I want to get this right. I want to say 34, 35. I was going to say 35, but I felt bad if I said it and got it wrong. Yeah, so 34, he will be 35 at the end of this year. So 34, he doesn't look like he's slowing down. Looks like he has at least another year in him. So well done to Max Gawn, 250 games after all the stuff that he went through at the start of his career, injury on injury, a couple of surgeries, reconstructions. It's good to see him putting together 250 games, and what a superstar of a player he has been. Now let's go ahead and have a look at the ladder. I'll have it peeled. I'll have it below me now as I speak as well. So we'll go 6, 6, 6. That's how it has it on the AFL app at the moment. So top 6 as we speak. Gold Coast Suns on top of the ladder, obviously with their 3 wins and a percentage of 191, well on top of the Western Bulldogs in second. Same amount of wins, but only 137.2. Third place jumping up the ladder is the Dockers and 2 wins. The Swans dropped down to 4th with their 2 wins. Hawks dropped down to 5th, and North Melbourne in 6th spots. So North Melbourne at the moment are in 6th spot in that top 6 with a percentage of 116.6, just edging Collingwood out in 7th place, who've come up the ladder on 114.6. Melbourne jump up to 8th. The West Coast Eagles are in wildcard weekend as we speak this early in the season. I know early, but as we speak, you got to celebrate it. 9th spot. And the Cats are also round out the top 10 in 10th place. Now we go to the bottom 8. 11th place, we got Port Adelaide with their 1 win. 12th, the Adelaide Crows. Jumping up places to 13th is the reigning back-to-back premiers, the Brisbane Lions. Could they get on a little bit of a heater? Do not write them off. 14th place, we have got the Saints going down. The Giants go down to 15th. Carlton go down to 16th. Is a little win for the Bombers. You jump off the bottom. Is that a win? You jump off the bottom to 17th, and the Tigers round out at the moment are on the bottom of the ladder. So Essendon and Richmond are the only teams yet to win a game at the moment as we speak, and we go into round 4. There you have it, guys. That's going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys for watching and listening along. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to leave a like and comment on this video. As I said, the algorithm's been loving it, so keep smashing that, guys. You're doing a really good job. Hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on. If you're listening to this via audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a like and comment on this episode. Hit that follow button, turn the notification bell on as well, and leave a 5. Please, guys, remember to leave a 5-star rating on the show, as that does help push the show out there to new listeners. Make sure you're following all our social stuff, so all the extra content as well on Instagram and TikTok, @theguts_. So thank you guys for listening and watching along, and until next time, I'll see you guys then.